It's time to feed the worm factory again, so I'm going to take you along and see how they are doing. It's been a week and a half since I fed them. I noticed that I don't really feed them on a weekly basis because I really try not to overfeed them. So it's been a week and a half. I had to take a look. They've already eaten all the food, so it's time to feed them. So let's take a look. Okay, so let's take a look into the first worm factory. Now, even though this is like the top layer, I notice that it's pretty wet and not very many worms. I'm not sure what's going on here. But that's the thing, you know, when you have so many trays like this, if a tray isn't quite ideal, you know, there's still plenty of room for them to go. And it usually settles itself out. So this one, see, like this one is doing really nice. The worms are nice. The texture's right. It's not too wet. It's also pretty full. This could be another one that could go to the top to finish off. But I think I'll wait a little bit. I'll feed it. Here's the next one. This texture is even better. They've eaten all the food. Again, this is another really full one. Could be another one kind of finish off. There's still, you know, a decent amount of paper in here, cardboard. The cardboard, I definitely have to say, they take much longer to eat off of. And then here is a new tray, and you know, last week I noticed that there weren't very many worms in there. Then I put it at the bottom, and this time there's lots of worms in here. They're nice and fat and happy. So, you know, sometimes when you start a new bin, again, it takes them a few weeks to kind of get happy to it. And that's another reason why it's really nice to have more than one tray. So again, I'll check the bottom here, make sure there's a couple of worms. I'll take them. And again, you know, one of the tricks is keeping the airflow so there's no worms getting down in there. So, and put this one at the bottom. Let's feed in this corner. Couple of handfuls. Cover it up. Flatten it out. Now I'm going to put a little bit of paper but not too much. This time it's just paper, it's not cardboard. And then here's the next one. Now this one is pretty full, but if I take a look, I have the rabbit bedding. I was going to take a closer look to see if it looks like the rabbit bedding's been in here recently, and it doesn't look like it. So even though this is pretty full, I am going to put a layer of the rabbit bedding and then I would say this tray is probably going to be pretty much done. So I'll just let and it could be a couple more months before I really feel like this tray is ready to be done. Worm composting is not a quick thing. To finish out a tray, can take months. It's not a quick process. You can always skim off, a handful or two to use. But yeah, it's not something where you can just be like, okay, I'm done, in a couple of months and think you're going to have, worm castings. It really takes time for them to break everything down and to eat everything. So, you should be in this for a long haul. And for me, I really do it for the food scraps, to get rid of the food scraps. That is the main reason why I do it. I don't necessarily do it for the worm castings. So then again, I will feed in a corner. And I'm really happy to see that the worms have really moved into this tray. So give them a nice big handful, cover it up. Now, because this is a newer bin, I'll give it a little bit of paper, but not too much. And this is another way to get rid of your paper. So I, run, old mail or old paper through the paper shredder. And it's another way to keep that out of the landfill, which is another reason I have the worms. So again, I'm going to put 2 handfuls in this one. Cover it up. And then I have this. And that's it. It looks pretty good in there. So let's take you to the next one. Okay, so let's check on the second worm factory. Here, this one has the top one, which I'm finishing off. And you can see this is really what you want finished tray to really look like. And I've stopped feeding it, so there's still worms in here, but they get in here, eat anything that's left for them to eat. Everything can get broken down before I really call this to be done. And then this one, you can see it had rabbit bedding recently, but worms look happy in there. Nice texture. They've eaten all the food. The next one, getting pretty full. Nice texture, lots and lots of worms. It's starting to warm up. We've actually had a month here with no rain. It's been in the 70s, which is crazy. So it's pretty much spring is upon us. But hopefully we'll get some rain. You know, and this is on the side of the house, so it's pretty protected. Again, this one, nice worms. They've eaten all the food. It's a little moist because it's getting closer to the bottom. Here's the bottom one. And you can see this did have rabbit bedding in here at some point, but that is pretty much gone, and the only thing kind of left is the alfalfa. You can definitely see it's moist, so I'm going to go put this on the top. I can see some cocoons. And one thing I noticed, I went to water some of my plants and I used the worm castings, and I put the, few handfuls in a 5-gallon bucket and then added water, and the worm cocoons actually float, and they were kind of stuck to the top of the bucket. Now they're empty. They were empty, but it was really interesting to see them all kind of float to the top and stuck to the bucket. Okay, so I will get a dry one, probably the one that was up on top. So put that one down, spread it all out, get a good hand food, put it in this corner, get a good handful. Cover it up. Now I didn't get enough rabbit bedding for this bin, so I might come back and add some rabbit bedding. We'll see. Probably, I really try to put the rabbit bedding only once in a tray. So, and I get the rabbit bedding probably once a month. So I can actually still see some alfalfa in this one. So I'm not going to put it in this one, but I'm going to feed it. So there's a corner. Good handful. Cover it up. So, and here's another tray. Now, I guess I'll put the rabbit bedding in this one. I'll come back and do that. I do see that maybe it was in here at some point, but it's pretty much broken down. So I'm not going to feed this one. Oh. But let's add a little paper to these. So I just come back, add some paper. And that's the thing. I mean, this is pretty forgiving. I mean, the worms are not going to judge you if, I don't like to go in there more than once a week. But if you need to add, no big deal. So this is the one I'm going to put the rabbit bedding. So I'm just going to leave that one. And then this was the bottom one that was kind of wet. So it's on top now. And I'll feed in this corner. and cover it up. And then I'll get a good handful of paper in this one. And you can really see how easy it is to take care of worms. It's a way to keep food scraps out of the landfill. And worm castings make the best fertilizer for your plants. Doesn't really take that much time. Like I said, it's been a week and a half since I fed them last. That was the finished tray. And that's it. Well, I hope you like this video. If you have any questions or comments, why don't you leave them below? And I would love to hear from you if you have a worm factory and if you've learned anything. Thank you.